Zachary, hi, Jim Delapine here. I want to give you some guidance on this your character here. It's looking good. You did a great job on the layer masks. So let me hit Control 0 to fit my document in the window. And the first thing we're going to do is reposition the character. So if I select the top layer and then Shift click the bottom layer, the left arm layer, I can then move everything at the same time. Okay. So now I'll click away and then zoom in. And the thing is, it's like everything needs to look merged. It needs to look like it works together. Okay, so all these images are great quality. So that's, you have a great starting point here. So let's start out with the left eye, or the eyes here. Okay, so I'm going to shift click to select both at the same time. Okay, and I'll scale them up. All right, so we're going to scale them up. So Shift to constrain, and if you hold down the Alt or Option key at the same time, they'll all scale out for the center point. And then I'll let go of the Shift and Alt key, and then hit Enter. And then what I'll do is I'll select one of these eyes and just I don't know. I'll put it. I'm trying to look for a place. What we're going to do is place it somewhere so that it's behind a leaf, so it looks like it's really there. So let me see here. Maybe something like this. Okay. So now that means what we're going to do is go to my paintbrush tool. Make sure always that it's 100% hardness. Okay. And we're going to reduce the size of the brush by hitting the left bracket key. Right bracket key will increase it. So I'll just, whoops, make sure that the layer mask is active, because you're always masking out imagery using the layer mask. So if I click here, I'm just clicking to kind of like hide this portion. So I'm going to go a little bit beyond it. Okay, and what I want it to do is look like it's coming out from behind this leaf right here. So now I'll reverse it and paint with white over here with a smaller brush and zoom in really close. Okay, so this way you can click and paint up to that leaf, and this way you can make it look like it's kind of coming out from that leaf. You may have to get a smaller brush, but this is where getting in there and really noodling it and finessing it will help a lot. Okay. So there. So now it looks like it's coming from behind that leaf, and we'll do the same thing over here. Let me hold down my control key so I can move this a little bit. All right, I'll select that layer mask and paint with black on the layer mask, and I'll paint a little bit beyond that leaf. Okay. Now go back and swap, or hit X to swap it. So white is your foreground color, and then paint it back in. So it looks like it's coming out from behind that leaf. I'm not doing the best job, but it's just for demo purposes. All right. So now it looks like it's coming from behind the leaf. So that's 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 working. So the banana here, that's another thing. Let's see what we can do with the banana later. So you also want it to look like it's coming out from the watermelon. So that's maybe a little trickier. Let's see. That's on top of the watermelon. So you're going to have to, let's see, if I paint with, on the layer mask of the lettuce layer, or as you call it, the head layer, you may want to, whoops, let's see, oh, I'm sorry, black. I don't know how this is going to look. Let's right click and disable that layer mask to see. You don't have much down there extra, so I think throwing a shadow under here will help that, but you need an irregular shape here to make it look like it's coming out from behind or out from the watermelon. And the same thing with this here. So let's drag this above the body, and this also will drag this above the body. All right, and what I'll do is I'll rotate this. So I'll hit Control T, rotate this, and maybe place it somewhere here. Hit Enter, take this, move it over here. All right, so this is what we got so far. So now at least it looks like if you throw a shadow under here, it looks like it's coming out from underneath or out from the watermelon. Okay. So how to throw a shadow. So let's work with the watermelon layer. Okay. If I select the watermelon or the body and create a new layer on top of that, okay, then go to my paintbrush tool, change the foreground color by clicking on the foreground color option and selecting a medium gray. Just click right here, okay? Then you're going to go to your paintbrush and get a reasonably large brush. And this is where the finessing comes in, all right? So you're going to want to now Control or Command click on the layer mask for the head. So that makes a selection, okay? Then you're going to inverse the selection, Shift F7. So now everything else but that lettuce head is active. And you have a new layer, and we're going to be painting on that layer. All right, so you now want a brush that's maybe, I'm going to guess at 25% hardness, okay? And a reasonably large brush. So now, if I just click, 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 and then put that layer into multiply mode. That's a true shadow. So now you can see you started to create a true shadow. Okay. Now here's the thing. You want it to stay contained. All right. So you want it to stay contained, but I'm just going to show you another way to do that. So I'm going to click here and then click down here. All right. So I know it looks messy. So now what you're going to do is, we don't want that gray in the background. So you're going to Control click on the body layer. That puts a selection on the watermelon. Then inverse it, Shift F7. Okay? And now, so everything else outside of the watermelon is selected. With that new layer, you're now going to hit delete. So that deletes all those pixels outside there. And you have a shadow. Alright, so now it's kind of like, it's basing it, it's grounding it. Alright, so you're going to do the same kind of thing underneath where the shovel hits the watermelon and where this, I think these are scallions, you know, a shadow needs to be thrown onto the watermelon coming from underneath. Whoops. Okay, and don't forget, you have that shadow on its own layer, so you can edit it. Alright, let's just say, for example, you want to edit the shadow, it's a little too harsh in places. You can go in there and create a layer mask like this, and then go to your paintbrush tool, right? You're at 0% hardness, so let's say I wanted to soften this. And now I'll get a large brush, and now if I just click here, I'm softening up the edges here, on here, on the layer mask, see? So a smaller brush, it takes some experimenting. A smaller brush will have a different effect. Okay, so as long as you have each shadow on its own layer, you can edit it. You have control. All right, so we want, I don't know, we want to have more fun with this. So this banana, I don't know, if we scale it up really big, let's see, and then zoom in. All right, so maybe with the banana, you may want to notice the banana, notice the edges here. All right, you see these lines, you have to get rid of those, and you do that by, let me go back to black foreground on the layer mask with the layer mask active. Okay, 1 second, let me take this call. Okay, Zachary, yeah, I just had to take a phone call there. Let me see where I left off here. So, okay, yes. So you have to make sure that you select the layer mask and then just paint these lines out around the edges of the file here, because I see how it happens a lot, but you have to make sure you get rid of those, and it's simply a matter of painting with black on those lines on the layer mask. All right, and now also what you'll want to do is, since this is the mouth here, you want to do the same thing, painting on the mouth to make sure it comes out from behind a leaf. So it just makes more sense. All right, you choose, you know, whatever area you want, and then go into the layer mask. Make sure you're at 100% hardness. Don't forget to change that. It's a back and forth kind of thing with the tools, so you may want to just paint past that leaf. Okay, and then hit X to swap the foreground and background colors. Zoom in. Go to your paintbrush, reduce your paintbrush size by hitting the left bracket key next to the P on your keyboard and just painting that area back in. Okay, and this and that. Okay. And then with regards to shadows, what you want to do is to make this look like it's grounded, and this would include the onions and the banana. So on top of the mouth, I'm going to create a new layer, and then it's going to be a little trickier. And then with black as your foreground color, soft edged brush. I'm sorry, make that gray as your foreground color. All right, and then if I control click on the mouth, layer mask, I'm going to put a selection around there. That makes things easier for you. Okay, it's automatically a selection. Get the right size brush. On that new layer, I'm now painting in here. Okay, and then putting that layer into multiply mode, deselecting, and then you have control over the shadow. If it's too dark, you just lighten it up or edit it. Like I said before, it's actually a terrible shadow. It wouldn't be like that. So let's say now I don't like that shadow, so I'll create a layer mask for that new shadow. And then with black, this is my foreground color, because I'm painting on the layer mask. I'm not using gray to paint on the layer mask, okay? I'm using gray on the image part of the layer so that I can put that into multiply mode. So now I can now paint to mask out part of that shadow, and again, it takes experimenting with the tools a little bit. So, okay, to make it a little more realistic. Okay. All right. So when that's said and done, you should be well on the way. All right. I'm not too crazy about using these elements as feet, but I mean, think about that. I think it's giving you enough to chew on. All right. So it's a really weird looking mouth, but it's fun. All right. All right. Take care. Bye.